Okay, so just a little nice simple tutorial here for you guys on how to use audio files such as bass lines and get them to follow your chord progression. This took me years to master because it can be very finicky and you can get very confused if you're not careful, but I've now got a really easy way of doing it. So hopefully this all goes nice and smooth, but I always like to mix in a little bit of audio, sometimes 2 or 3, but I generally try and just keep it 1 now. Just so it's easier. So what we've got is this lovely little bit of bass line from the Activa pack. Just going to rename everything. Just working on a track with a tutorial client here and showing him this. Right, so we've got our bass. Now I'm going to name this one, and this one is in F sharp, so that's the root note. Labeling is really important, and it just helps you keep track of things. Now, there's no bass changes up until the breakdown, which is fantastic. However, when we get to a drop, of course, this is where we go wrong. Make life easier. Just going to pull the sub up just below the mid bass, and there you go. Now, we want to make the audio that we're about to edit as long as the sub bass. So the sub bass is nice and simple. It's just 8 bars. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to chop where the changes are. So you can see there there's a change. Just check. In Logic it's nice and easy. You can just do that. So yeah, there's the first change. There's the second change. Again, this is 12 years of doing this and perfecting it to the point where this is just the most optimal way of doing this. Next change is there. Used to take me about an hour and a half to do something like this, and now I can do it super fast. Next change is there. Next change is there. So you can see I'm using my marker at the top as a guide, and this is what speeds things up so fast. And we've got a last. So we know that these are our changes. Next thing to do is label. So F sharp, we know that one. This one is D sharp. Labeling is very important, and you'll see why shortly. A sharp. Sharp. Oh. Back to F sharp. So I'm just gonna move that there. Back to D sharp. We've got a D sharp already. Yep. I could just relabel it, but I find it easiest to move it. And we've got A sharp again. So it's quite easy. There's not that many changes, to be honest with you. I'm guessing the next one's C sharp. Yeah. So a piece of piss, this one, really. Right, so now we know that they're all changes. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use Wave Sound Shifter. So I'm going to turn the adapter limiter off. If you've got a limiter on, turn it off, because I find when you have the limiter on, it can cause issues, i.e. when you bounce it down or bouncing things in place, it affects the volume slightly. We want the volume to be as it is in this channel. So turn any limitation off on the master. So we're going to put Wave Sound Shifter on there. Make sure everything's nice and clean. We don't want to have a cluttered desktop. Keep it simple. Right, so F sharp to D sharp is 1, 2, 3 semitones down. So all I'm going to do, select my little channel there. I'm going to turn semitones down 3 decibels. It's not decibels, 3 semitones. Bounce in place, D sharp. I don't want to include any automation or anything like that, but I do want the volume and pan automation. Normalize should be overload protection only. Bounce it down. There you go, we've got D sharp. Now always work from F sharp, because if not, you're going to get confused. So I'm going to mute that. Don't delete it, but mute it. So next we need F sharp to the next one along, which is A sharp. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 semitones up. So we go to sound shifter and we go 4 semitones up. Now the reason that I mute the region and don't delete it is because sometimes I fuck up and I might get it slightly wrong. So it's always important just to have the original file there just in case. Right, next is C sharp. So it's going to be easier to go down. So look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, or it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up. So I'm going to go with the shortest one possible. So that's 5 semitones down. So again, you've got to use your brain a little bit here. The more that you're sound shifting it, the more that the file will sound a bit weird. Now that's fine, because when we've got 2 or 3 other bass lines playing as well, it will mask that. But yeah, you want to use, in terms of the octave going up or down, you want to go to the shortest one available. So in this case, it's 5 semitones down. I think that's everything we've got actually. So we've got, yep, D sharps there. So it just looks like it repeats, so it's all good. C sharp. Now what you notice is the way I've done it, all the channels are still going to the bus channel. So it's just nice and simple, nice and easy way of doing it. Of course, you need to turn the sound shifter off. And now I'll play it. Now, if you can imagine, if we was just playing that bass line on its own, it would sound a bit weird, because when it goes from D to A, it sounds a bit disjointed almost. But that's fine, because we're going to have these two in there as well. We don't need them anymore because I nailed it. And that's it. That's how you basically take a nice bit of audio and change it. And as I said, I've been producing 11 or 12 years now. I think October 2007 I started. When I first started trying to do this, as in shifting some audio to different channels, it used to take, that would honestly, I'm not even exaggerating, would take me an hour and a half, and I would get stressed out and get lost, and I wouldn't understand how to do it. And like I said, I've just refined it over the years to the point where I've got it absolutely perfect now. So it's fucking awesome. Looks like the mid bass stops here, so let's just quickly go back. Again, I'm just working through a client's track. By no means am I engineering for the client, because I don't do that. I don't believe in that. I'm just showing him his project and how it can be improved. I mean, he's going to go away and make these changes himself in his own project. It's important for me to reiterate that fact. You might be just thinking, well, why the fuck have you got like audio channels in there in your bass line? Well, when you're starting out especially, it's very hard to get mid basses to sound good. And I find throwing a nice bit of audio in there, this one's from the Activa sample pack, it just brings your bass lines to life. It adds a bit of movement. On this one I've added Omni Boys, which just spreads the sound left and right, so cool delay. But if I just show you with and without, what you can see is that that's filling a massive gap, and that's what I call the low mid frequencies. So many producers miss these lower mids. Think of producing as a hypothetical box, and in that box you have 3 compartments. You've got a small compartment, which is your bass. I mean, you've got a really big compartment, which is all your mids. I mean, you've got, one that's in between the two, which is all your highs. What I'm essentially trying to say to you is that there's not much room in the low end, between 0 and 200 hertz, but there's a lot of room between 200 hertz and, I don't know, up to 5k. And you can fill that area with so much stuff. And a lot of producers, their tracks sound thin because they're not utilizing the frequencies that are available in them low mid frequencies. So when it comes to your percussion, your acids, your atmospheres, your mid bass, you really need to make sure that you're getting sounds in there which have got some nice prominent low mids in there. For instance, look. That's what I'm talking about. Producers miss these frequencies all the time, especially when you're beginning. In this particular sound, it's also got attributes in the high end as well. So I'm not going to push it all the way back just to make use of the low mids. It's also got some really nice, tasty, higher sounds. So when you're applying this kind of method to, as I said, your percussion, your mid basses, your acids, your atmospheres, that's how you get that nice full sound. And so many producers are missing these frequencies and the tracks sound thin. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and any questions, drop me a line, tuition@AdamEllisDJ.com. Thank you very much.